Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. In this video, we are going to do malware hunting on the web. So it's pretty much going to be fun. It's going to be a learning experience. I'm going to this is I think my second time doing this. My first time happened to be when I was back in college, and I actually find it really interesting doing this stuff. So I just felt like doing this whilst I do a live recording. Um, so it's pretty much going to be fun. So let's just dive in and start having fun. So we are pretty much going to use this interface or with this website. It's pretty called Any.Run. I'm just going to add this link to my description in case you want to visit there and follow what I'm about to do. So what this allows you to do is that you can literally scan a lot of binaries and get informations regarding that binary. You can also submit some executables, malwares, feeds, and get information about it pretty much. So there has been a pretty solid research that has went into all these executables, right? So if you can look at this, this is just their um, main homepage, and if you look at what you can get real time interactions. So that we will do in a second, right? Real time interaction. You can see where live malwares are taking place using the global map. You can also look at network traffics. You can literally do a lot of research into this traffic, see executable files, URLs, and track it down, see security cookies. You can also be processing, you can also be watching like the process monitoring, like how the process of an executable followed the process tree pretty much. And this is the MITRE attack mapping pretty much, and the behavioral graph. So this actually also comes in handy. So once you have an executable, like let's say this had an executable of Java, so you can look at the behavior graph. So this is a CMD executable, and it can go further to the actual script. So this is VBS script, Visual Basic Scripts, right? So this actually also provide some detailed information, but I think I can go to the next part. So like looking at this part, this is where there's going to be a lot of public submissions where there are like some hashes. So we have like this first one is this Windows 7 professional 32-bit Windows, and this was submitted by this IP address, right? um and you can see it's a PE file, and it's a 32-bit executable file, and this is the hash. You have like different version of the hashes. You have the MD5 SHA-1 and SHA-256 hash, and like it was scanned, and so like we can go into it and we can try to investigate what that report looked like, or what it had, the effect it had, right? So looking at this, we can, there is no data here, files modification, there's no data here. So one thing that I can do is I can look at this hash here, looking at the process detail, no verdict, 20 out of 100. The username was admin, the command line. So let's go ahead and look at more information on it. So here we can look at the SID. Um, so this is also pretty good because it can give you the location of the user. So pretty much that means the file executable was in this path, users admin app data dot, and it is something that was pretty much so one thing we can do here is we can download a which is the computer name, but I don't want to download it, right? I really don't want to download it. But before I do anything here, what I'm going to do is we can look at a different one pretty much. And let's say this is a malicious one, right? But because the one we were looking at didn't have any um bag effects, or like it wasn't, so this one will be interesting to look. And with this, as we can see, we've already seen a lot of stuff that is happening on the screen, right? So we can literally expect some interesting stuff that is going to happen. Looking on the far right, as we can see there are some WinRAR executable stuff that was literally sitting at the users the C drive, users admin app data, the local temp, and that was where it was sitting, right? And one thing that we are going to do is we can literally, so this is giving us the timeline, right? um and the headers and the connections and the DNS request. So let's look at the DNS request and what the response was. So technically, what I'm assuming is we should literally nail down what this is doing. So one thing about malicious document or attachment is that pretty much it can be of any form. Um it can be attached to an application. It can be attached to um any like an email which has a domain. So once you try to, or it can be a script, right? So once you have an email from an unknown person, or even the person can literally claim to be someone you know, and you try to click on that email, what is going to happen is that attachment is going to technically sit on your computer. And once it sits on your computer, that script, either it being a Python script or a PowerShell scripts, what it's going to do is it's going to run automatically, and that malicious attachment is going to automatically start to run and start to exploit your computer. So that is why we always try to warn people that you have to be very careful when you see an attachment with emails from people you don't know, right? Especially people who work for organizations. And this is really critical because currently we are doing work from home, right? So since we are doing work from home, what is going to happen is there's a lot of people, which is hackers or false people, force representative people who are going to try to take this work from home to their advantage and start to target people and send them attachments. And if you are really curious, you can easily become a victim, right? So all this thing I'm trying to do is just to help people that it is real, because sometimes people have that knowledge that we don't have to click or open an attachment from the bad guys, but the actual secrets behind why they shouldn't, they don't know. And that is why I'm trying to go through all these steps, right? So let's say, let's use this as an example, right? So the user had an email, and with the email the user had, what happened was the user clicked on that email, right? So once he clicked on the email attachment, it had something, it had a script. That script technically um, had some domain to be generated, right? So then the attachment is pretty much going to be on the person's computer, and what is going to happen is it's going to run in the background, so without the person's knowledge, right? So let's see where, and it sometimes there will be a domain that could be provided with the attachment, and what the domain will be doing is it's going to send some data to an unknown server, right? So you will be using your daily computer. You think there's nothing that is going on, but actually there's a lot of stuff that will be going on, and it's just pretty much going to be sending that data, right? So let's look at what is pretty much, so this is all the process ID of the executable. Now the threads. we don't have any threats here. We can come here, we can look at this, and we can look at the more information out of it. So, and we can look at the registry, we can see the key set of what it was doing pretty much. And let's say that this is pretty good because this is giving you that warning that malware, um it literally can run by itself, right? So once it gets installed on your computer, get attached to your computer, there it can run, right? It can run by itself. So it's the application launch itself, reads the computer name, checks supported languages, and that pretty kind of things, right? Interesting. So um I just don't really want to download anything here. So this is another one. This is another one that I think it can be really really interesting. So this one is chrome.execute, right? So we can literally try and look at what this stuff is doing. Let's look at the binary. So this is one thing that I also wanted to mention. So computers always communicate with ones and zero, right? So anything that gets run on the computer has to be a binary, and binaries are ones and zero, right? So the actual hashes or the attachments can be some binaries which has been converted into like a lowest form, right? And that is going to be hardly like very difficult for you to read it, right? So if that's the case, if you see these numbers, it's hard, right? You so any attachment that doesn't really make sense to you, don't click it. Like just make a report, report it to your organization, and literally like make note of it. Like this is something that I can't read, right? It's easy to trick you, right? Because out of curiosity, you'll be like, oh, what is this, right? Maybe it is malware, maybe it's not. But the thing is, you are not sure, so don't try it, right? So this is all the hexadecimal value of their binary that it was attached, right? So we can technically continue to investigate more of this stuff. And this is a domain that um, I think it literally since you want to shop, and this stuff can literally let you input most of your credit card details, and that could be stolen, so we have to be really really alert. Like these are the stuff that is going on, right? So I believe this um this should be enough. One thing here too is like you can also look at the process graph of this stuff, right? How this thing is being triggered. So you come here, so you can see like it just started from where the user had the admin and the command line, Google Chrome application, then you just continue going through that path, right? So this is just the process graph. And there's also a test report that we can read. So once this didn't really detect anything, right? So no threats was detected. And when was this analysis made? This analysis was made on 30th 7, and so I believe it is still 29th year. So I believe this is coming from a far different place, like a different region altogether, right? So this actually helps us to literally see all the stuff that is going on, and a lot of um, malware stuffs are going to get published here, right? And you can literally follow along, try to research, investigate. Once that has malicious stuff, it's literally going to be written that this had a malicious stuff. So let's look at this test report. We can literally see clearly that if it so this had a malicious activity for Windows 7, and we can read it and look at how it had the impact and the results of it and the screenshots. So this is just the screenshots of it and the process tree. Um, so I think I think I am going to leave this part of the video here. Um, I'll probably post another video where I will literally have an executable or a binary where I will submit it, go through the process of writing an actual research on it, and also trying to use other platform to investigate what that binary is. I'll do one with an existing one which is on their database that they can submit the report. So I just have to go through and literally find some binary, which is a malware. But the for the scope of all this is just educational purpose, so we can be aware and have enough knowledge to distinguish between stuff that can compromise our computers and our organizations, and just always stay on an alert. So with all being said, if you have any questions or concern or suggestions, just feel free to comment in the comment section or send me a direct email. I'll be so glad to reply. Um, until then, I'll say don't quit learning cybersecurity.